So if you see the picture, I took sannyas. I took sannyas here in Mayapur with Bhakti Chaitanya Swami and Radha Govinda Goswami, the three of us. And so they, you know, I'm the one with the hair. Very unusual to take sannyas and still have hair, you know. But he said, no, you're going to China, that's why. So I said, okay. And you won't need a danda. Where are you going? They said, no, we'll get him a danda in pieces. Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, they will find it. So, no danda either. No, he gave me a danda, this sannyas, but he said, leave it here in Mayapur, you don't take it to China. You won't need it in China. And so, this was Tamal Krishna Goswami, a very, very powerful personality, very, you know, just being near him, I tremble in my shoes. Very powerful. Because I always do things wrong, you know, so I always worry, you know, you'll find out what I've done wrong, you've shouted at me, or so I tended to stay a bit away from him, didn't get too close. But Prabhu here, he had a very nice, intimate relationship with Goswami Maharaj. China, Hong Kong was his zone. You know, he wasn't given much of a zone. At one point, he was ruling practically the whole of America with the Radha Damodar party. But many of you may know, or if you don't know, read the Leelamritas, particularly Vyasaki's book is very good about this, Radha Damodar Vilas. And you can read also Sastrupa Goswami about what happened. There was some conflict between the Brahmachari sannyasis and the Grihastas. You know, a little bit conflict. And at that time, many devotees were staying in the temple, and often householders were running the temple. And they needed money to maintain the temple. In those days, money was coming from book distribution. So if a temple had a good collector, then it's very important for the maintenance of the temple. So sometimes, people would want to leave the temple and go and join Radha Damodar, go and travel with Tamal Krishna Goswami and the other sannyasis who were there with the Radha Damodar party. And those, of course, Vishnu Swami for some time there. Like that, so it was very attractive. You know, why stay in the temple, same place, same spots every day? For Sankirtan, you can go with Radha Damodar and travel around everywhere. And, you know, all the big book distributors are there. You can get association with them. So many people wanted to join with Tamal Krishna Maharaj and his party. And it became a problem, and then of course Prabhupada had said, I'm taking it all away from you, and you go to China. And so Tamal Krishna Maharaj was not so inspired to go to China. Difficult. Those days, China especially is not China as we know it today. You know, China today is very well developed. Everything is being built. Superstructures, high-fast trains connecting all the cities, airports, huge airports everywhere, and you know, it's a very powerful economic country. But in 1970s and 80s, when Tamal Krishna Maharaj, when Prabhupada told Tamal Krishna Maharaj to go to China, it was closed practically. Nobody could go. And it was a real challenge how to do it. You know, I went to China more than 30 years ago now. So I remember how it was then. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj went before that. So he saw it in very primitive, undeveloped economically. But he took up the challenge that Prabhupada wants him to do this, and he organized us how to do it. He organized us that from Hong Kong, we would we would go to the train station and we would get all the people who were going back to China, particularly like at Chinese New Year, and in those days there was a big rush of people going out of Hong Kong, going back to China, and we'd give them all books. And Maharaj had arranged special books, Krishna book printed with Chinese and English. And the idea was, that people want to learn English, we'll give them these books. And so learn English, and we would give them this little pocket Krishna book and some Krishna stories in it, in Chinese and English. And we would go in and we would give out books often freely. And it certainly had its effect. As Prabhupada had told Tamal Krishna Goswami, even if you can't go, you send the books, and the books will create the preaching field there. So one man, he actually got a book coming back, and when he got it, he wrote to us and said, I want to help you spread this knowledge all over China. And he did. The man helped us for a while. After some time he got arrested. These things happen in China. We don't worry. Tamal Krishna Maharaj himself was doing a program in Shanghai. He had Sankirtan Prabhu, who has already left this world. He's gone to continue preaching with Tamal Krishna Maharaj somewhere. I mean, Sankirtan Das and one other devotee were in Shanghai, and they arranged a big program in a big university in Shanghai. And it was a very successful program. We'd do a little yoga, we'd twist the body, show some positions, and then we say, that's one type of yoga. How many of you can do this? No, nobody could do it. Okay, we have another yoga for you. And we teach them how to chant Hare Krishna, and then introduce the Maha Mantra, and give everybody books. Very nice program. Hundreds of people, big auditorium, all students. So Maharaj did that program, and everybody was very satisfied, very happy. But the next day the police came. The devotees got sent back to Hong Kong. You have to leave China. You can't do this. You have to leave China. So Tamal Krishna Goswami also, he was in the front lines with us. He wasn't sitting back in his office, he was in the front lines. He went out with us, and he also got arrested in the place there. But he was happy, to come and do some preaching in China.